Yo, what's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Swolelax. God dang it. We don't have to say anything about the male in the back, right? We can just let that be. We can let that slide this time, you know? I don't have to say anything about it. Hopefully. Yo, what's up, boys and girls? It's Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again in the video. This time it's a little different. Today, let's talk about heroes in the 2022 meta. Now, I know right off the bat this might seem really confusing because we're only about 6 months into 2021 and we have half a year left to go. Heroes could still be meta, there's new set releases, yada yada yada. But in my brain of brains and my heart of hearts, I know for a fact that heroes probably won't make a huge meta impact until at least 2022. I did somewhat of a similar video a couple weeks ago about Cyber Dragons, talking about the history, when they were meta, why they were so good, and how Konami has changed them over the years, and how they can impact and maybe potentially be meta in the future. Unlike that video, this video will be much more specific because I want to talk about things that heroes desperately need to stay viable inside the meta. Because right now they are rogue at best. Which is so funny for me to say now, but almost about a year ago, actually I think almost exactly about a year ago, they were still a big meta contender, battling it out for the top 5 slots of the format with things like Shaddolls and Invoked and Altergeist and Dinosaurs. The heroes have had an interesting evolution over time, and while not that long ago they were meta, they desperately need more support if the meta is going to be trending the way that it's been trending. There's this great picture in my mind that I have when I talk about heroes needing more support. You guys have probably all seen it before in various ways. The dude in the swimming pool like dousing water on himself. That's essentially how I feel about heroes. They have so many cards and the card pool is just so vast, and there's so many cards with the capital H-E-R-O inside of their name to really support and help and enable the archetypes to do really cool things. However, Konami has taken the deck in various directions in the past, and as of right now, it really seems that Konami is really digging this omni-hero type of deck, integrating cards like the elemental heroes, the vision heroes, and also the destiny heroes into one complete archetype instead of having the individual decks as themselves. This is kind of thematic for the heroes because they're supposed to be uniting together, even the destiny heroes, which are kind of like anti-heroes per se. So the TLDR is that heroes don't need more support per se. However, if they do want to compete and stay up to date as a fan favorite meta contender, they will need more support from Konami. Not just the recent Destiny Hero support that we just got. The recent Destiny Hero support that we got was kind of neat. I don't necessarily think it's the direction that heroes are going or want to go in the first place. It doesn't play to the strength of heroes too much, if that makes any sense. New cards that we got are Destiny Hero support specifically. They help tutor out Plasma and make Plasma much more powerful, essentially making it to where the main phase of heroes is much more threatening than just the battle phase. As of right now, there are 2 different hero variants that you can play, essentially, if you want to make it more competitive. The first is Hero Control, which is much less popular than Hero OTK. This is particularly because there's less combo extenders in this one, and you're playing more of a helmet control deck, circling around Darklaw and maybe some back row. Essentially what you're doing is playing Protect the Castle with Darklaw though. And this can be problematic because Darklaw isn't necessarily that hard to out. Master Hero Darklaw is one of the most powerful monsters inside of the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! And changed the face of heroes as we know it. Its banishing effect, its hand ripping effect really has a lot of value that is exclusive to heroes, specifically because no other card can really do what it does. Any deck that has an in-archetype macrocosmos can be very strong. And this is a threat that you have to account for anytime you're playing heroes, is having Darklaw on the board and having to get around Darklaw. However, the current meta pool and also potentially the future meta pool, I do not see having an issue getting around Darklaw turn 2. And then let's say you're playing the other variant of heroes, which is a going second build trying to play through your opponent's interruptions and OTK. Heroes have always been known for their battle-like effects. The GX era was plagued with insane battle effects because the battle phase was much more important in old school Yu-Gi-Oh! However, nowadays, while still important with an asterisk, it's really just about the main phases in establishing control. Yes, combo decks can OTK, Axis Kotaku can OTK, but to get to that, you have to establish a level of control that is within your favor. And heroes kind of have a hard time doing that. Sure, you have cards like Malicious Bane, sure you have cards like Darklaw, sure you have cards like Dystopia? I almost forgot its name for a second, it's been so long. And various other cards to help gain that control to get the game in your favor. Essentially just 1 year later, Heroes went from being a top meta contender to a pretty niche rogue deck. And because of that, Konami's in a really tough spot. How do you present and create new support for an archetype that is such a fan favorite while also not uprooting styles and play that a lot of players really enjoy. It's a pretty nice fine line that I think Konami has straddled throughout the years. That being said though, heroes are in an incredibly rough spot right now. They completely get destroyed by hand traps and other interruptions. Things like Nibiru just kill the deck. The deck is so reliant on searching that Droll Lockbird is pretty much a death sentence. It's not even worth playing one-ofs like Called by the Grave to ensure that your combos go through, just because of the varied amount of hand traps that are in the game that hurt heroes so much. This might just be kind of an inherent balance, but essentially every single hand trap inside of the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! Hurts heroes in one way or another. Things like Effect Veiler, Imperm, Nibiru, Droll, Ash, Ghost Ogre even. Siphon Gear Gamma, Ghost Bell. I would even go as far as to say that Spooky Dogwood also hurts heroes in some capacity. And that's going first or second, regardless of the build you choose, the control variant or the OTK variant, hand traps are going to hurt regardless. And in a format right now that has insane combo decks that can just play through hand traps and negations like it's no big deal, it makes me wonder and really makes me think, how can heroes compete in the future with these other combo decks? What makes players say, hey, I want to play heroes other than nostalgia and just purely being a fan of the deck? What competitive edge does heroes allow you that other decks do not have? Now, yes, a lot of decks can still do what heroes do, just maybe not as good or to a lesser extent. And in addition to that, the deck does cover a lot of inherent weaknesses and has a myriad of support that allows it to be this meta force when it wants to be. But similar to its GX cousin Cyber Dragons, heroes have to have the perfect storm of a meta to really capitalize on all of its great utility. And like I keep on saying throughout the years, Dark Law carries this deck on its back. It's one of the only cards that's this incredibly designed well. It's so good, but Dark Law, Adusted Gold, and Malicious Bane clearly aren't enough to make this deck meta and to make it a mainstay within the competitive realm. So what can we do about heroes? What support would they need to make heroes meta? How can Konami change heroes? I think they have 4 directions they can go while keeping the main structure of the hero deck and the hero archetype intact. As of right now, I see that there are a few glaring issues with heroes. We'll talk about them one by one. The first would be a monster or a spell effect that adds a change quick play spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand. What enable you to do is have a going first edge, along with adding viable consistency to some of the deck's more powerful utility cards. And this wouldn't necessarily be too broken, as you could add costs like discarding cards, or potentially you can only special summon heroes or dark heroes, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, this adds a level of consistency to the deck while also potentially meaning that you draw into a bunch of spell cards and hand traps that you probably can't use. Adding this type of card, potentially at a 2 of, is a risk reward that I personally would like to take, because I think one of the more powerful aspects of heroes is getting to Dark Law, getting to Anki, getting to all these more powerful cards like Acid, and even sometimes like Mass Hero Blast. Because really all we have right now is Mass Change 2, and Form Change, which aren't cutting it. Essentially, you're just going to be playing Mass Change inside of your deck because you can search it with Shadow Mist. However, Mass Change 2 is sometimes on the table as well, but the level restriction is kind of stupid. There's a little bit extra to make sure that you see Mass Change more consistently is better in my opinion. I think that Shadow Mist restriction when it's special summon and the harder ones return stuff is a little too limited inside of 2020 and even 2022 eventually to make it more viable as a strategy. So having this be more consistent, having this idea be present inside of heroes is something that I would like to see going forward. However, if they don't want to go with that route, then they can also do native spell and trap interruption. Think like Salamangreat or even Code Talkers, which has a searchable Omni Negate in the form of that trap card. In theory, this is something like Mass Change that you can set, and then also your opponent's having to play around potentially a second Dark Law, or a Dark Law is protected from targeting, that kind of thing. But I'd still argue that that's not even good enough, and that would require you to have 2 Mass Changes. Heroes have always been a more monster-centric deck. Yes, they have very powerful fusion and spell cards, but overall, their monsters are their mainstays, the heroes, if you will. But ain't nothing wrong with a little hero utility belt every now and again, you know? If you have to protect your heroes from destruction or targeting, or maybe just a straight Omni Negate in a reliable spell or trap card of some type of interruption, that would be incredible. Could even be a monster. Imagine how nutty that would be if we had a hero hand trap. Busted. If they don't want to go with those 2 options, they can also go for the third one, which is an Omni Negate in the form of a Mass Hero or a Destiny Hero. let's be real here, they may do with an evil hero too, but I don't think we're gonna get evil hero support for a very long time. Technically, contrast heroes do have a negation that the heroes have access to. It's just a lot of setup for no good payoff. That's a video to talk about some days. Contrast heroes, we really should revisit that because I love the idea of the contrast heroes being a thing. Yeah, I think having an Omni negate a suggestion is pretty weak, to be honest. It's not very interesting or not very intricate. It's just kind of like, hey, it's something nice that heroes can have. Lastly, if they don't want to go with any of these ideas, I think they can go with the tried and true, simple, easy thing to do with combo decks, and that's just to give them more extenders. Give them more ways to play through interruptions and to play through negations. Heroes do have a lot of extenders at the moment. In fact, we have probably way more than a lot of archetypes, but the extenders that we do have are fairly limited comparatively to the card pool available. I just want one insanely broken hero card. Is that too much to ask for? Probably. But yeah, that might be all I have to say about heroes at the moment. Just kind of a random string of consciousness, if you will. I don't perceive that heroes are going to be meta anytime soon unless we get some insane pieces of support or if a lot of other decks just get ripped apart on the ban list. That's gonna be that'd be amazing, actually, if that happened instead, because heroes are still pretty good. Like I said, the deck's consistent, it's pretty powerful, has its plays it wants to make. However, just the format is not quite right for it. If it wants to compete in this format and potentially future formats, it's gonna need more support than just the existing card pool that we have right now. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about this. What do you guys think of it? What do you guys think of heroes? Do you guys think heroes will be meta inside of 2022? What future hero support are you guys hoping for? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to read your thoughts and opinions. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave it a like. If you guys want to see more, please subscribe. I got a lot more videos coming in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that if you would like to. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.